This session is core to successful advocacy. It also requires the most discipline. Biting your tongue may be required. Personal persuasion is the key to gaining support for cannabis legalization. You will become more confident after a few legislator visits. If a legislator asks you a question, it shows interest in the topic, so a question is an opportunity to have further interactions. Don't worry about not being able to answer a question. Just offer to get it, and we'll help you. NC NORML has a variety of fact sheets for different aspects of cannabis on our website, and we'll create more as needed. Getting to yes can take several meetings. Research your legislator prior to the meeting and pick the aspect of legalization that will appeal to them, such as opioid crisis and legal cannabis. Remember to appeal to their values, not yours. Have other fact sheets as backup depending on the flow of the conversation. Use the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Choose the highlights from your chosen fact sheet and avoid too much detail or speculate an answer you're not sure about. NC NORML is doing our very best to provide a variety of accurate fact sheets so you can use persuasive evidence from surprising sources like medical journals. Maintaining credible, accurate information is essential for you to be seen as a trustworthy constituent. Your job is to listen, observe what motivates your legislator, set reasonable goals for the conversation, realizing that there's been years of misinformation that you may need to address. Calmly present the research we've found and offer to get more. Listen for their belief statements so you can tie their beliefs to cannabis in a positive way. Consider their worldview. If their rule, use the farming fact sheet. If a lawyer, start with the crime fact sheet. There are a variety of aspects on the website. Use common ground beliefs like liberty, reduced state budget, and with the appropriate fact sheets. Observe their body language. Notice whether they close their arms across their body or are open and relaxed with their arms at the side. As they lean forward or back, it talks about whether they're engaged or disengaged. Treat every question respectfully and leave the fact sheet. Find an issue or a belief that you both support so you can say we agree or we share. Use terms like individual liberty or express concerns about the opioid crisis or reducing the budget costs of prisons, courts, and law enforcement. Make pivot statements using conservative speech, since right now the General Assembly is controlled by rural conservative legislators. The statements on this slide are useful to make a connection with the legislator. We'll discuss how to research legislators and find common ground in the next session. Rather than thinking about what you're going to say next, listen and observe for clues about what they believe and what they want to know. In that way, you will be able to respond to their concerns. Ask only open-ended questions so they reveal more information about their thought process. It will help you decide about what information would be most compelling to them. Offer positive comments on anything from pictures on the wall to bills they sponsored. One time, I walked in an office and saw Wolfpack items. I commented on them and saw his body language totally open from a closed position. This is very important. Consider an issue from their perspective. We need to find the emotional connection that will drive their decision while providing logical reasons for the legislator to support our legislation. For instance, in a discussion about a tax policy, a legislator mentioned that he'd been poor and he worked hard and pulled himself up, so others should do the same. I responded that I too was poor and working my way up. But some people do not have the God-given abilities or family background to achieve like we did. I gave him a fact sheet about who would benefit from the tax change. My goal was to stop him from speaking against the bill, even if he voted against it. Instead, to my surprise, he used the information to speak in favor of the bill. That is why you never give up. Do what you can to avoid a no response. People are less likely to change their minds once they've stated opposition. You want them to stay open to being convinced. If you force them to take a position against us, then you will have no excuse to visit again. It's unlikely that you can accomplish everything in one visit, unless the legislator is already a supporter. If they are supporters, ask them if they will talk to their colleagues. Ask them who we should visit and what kind of information that will be most effective with their colleagues. NC NORML will find research to support you. Building relationships takes time. If possible, meet legislators at public events so they recognize you when you set up a meeting to discuss cannabis. At the meeting, you can make reference to seeing them at the event. To summarize, be realistic and persistent, have a strategic, well-framed message, build relationships, not barriers, listen, be empathetic, and adapt. Find common ground, use conservative speak with pivotal sentences, followed by persuasive statements. Our next session will discuss preparing for the meeting itself.